It was the second time I'd gotten laid off in 6 months, and despite everything happening in the world, this is where it got better. I had figured out that I loved something so much that I was willing to do it for free. Sometimes it can be easy to say, quit your job and go after what you love, but finances and paying your bills are incredibly important. Where do we begin? Well, let's just dive right in. I was a software engineer for the last 7 years, and now I am a full-time content creator. And I'm gonna share how I changed my life forever and how you can too. So let's rewind. It's 2019 and I am at the top of my career. I'm a lead DevOps engineer at a startup in the Silicon Valley. Amazing, right? I placed so much of my identity into being a software engineer that it was the first thing you knew about me, what I did for work. It's the easiest way to get to know people, ask what they do for work, but then you start to entangle your identity with what you do for work, which are not the same thing. So come September 11, 2019, I walk into the office, my manager sits me down and lays me off. The company was struggling with finances and laid off 25% of the company. I was devastated, to say the least. So as my identity, or so I thought, was being ripped away from me, I fell into a huge depression. I watched television for weeks on end, trying to numb the pain of feeling worthless. I didn't have the drive in me to be this achiever for something that I was starting to realize I didn't actually love. I was going through so much financially, family-wise, health-wise, in so many aspects. I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I sat in my therapist's office and just cried, just overwhelmed with emotion. And she told me 2 things that were really important for my journey ahead. Number 1 is that if we are to place everything that is going wrong on our shoulders and feel that all at once, anyone would be crushed by the weight of that. So she told me, just take it day by day and don't try and solve all of your issues all at once. You're not going to be able to fix your finances, fix your health, fix your job situation, fix your family all in one failing swoop. So take it day by day. Number 2, she said, what brings you joy? And I had to think about it for a second. And in the moment, I was like, well, watching TV right now, it numbs my pain and I don't feel bad when I watch TV. And she says, well, do you get that feeling of like, I'm really glad I did that after you watch TV? And I was like, no, it's numbing for me. It's escapist. I don't have to feel the pain of my present circumstance. And she says, well, audit your life. Figure out what you enjoy. Figure out what makes you go, I'm so glad that I did that. So I took a second and thought about it. For me, it was 2 things. It was exercising and moving my body and spending time in reflection with God. Those were 2 things that I could just sigh and feel so glad that I did them. So my therapist told me, well, write those 2 things down, and every day you get to do those 2 things is a day well done. It's hard to imagine that it was that easy, but instead of laying in bed all day, numbing my pain, I decided to work out. And I decided to learn about meditation and journal and reflect and spend time with God, and those things kept me sane. And it started to create a drive in me to want more for my life. I loved this fitness thing and I wanted to keep doing it every day just because I loved it. And so I signed up to teach group fitness classes. This was 3 months before the pandemic, and shortly after I taught my first few classes, the world shut down, my gym closed, and laid off all the trainers. It was the second time I'd gotten laid off in 6 months. And despite everything happening in the world, this is where it got better. I had figured out that I loved something so much that I was willing to do it for free. In the meantime, I had to pay my bills, so I went on the job search and I was hired as a vice president of engineering at a startup in Silicon Valley. It's just crazy to think that as I was getting to the peak of my career as a software engineer, I didn't even know I was just getting started on the career of a lifetime. It was truly divine timing that I started posting fitness content when the world needed it most online. I was able to help my friends and family stay fit while staying inside during the pandemic. And then shortly after, it expanded from just friends and family to friends of friends and beyond that. I was figuring out my voice in the fitness community and investigating what I wanted to share with the world, all the while maintaining a full-time job. It was hard to balance both, but because I just enjoyed it so much, I was able to have my 9 to 5, and then from 5 onwards, I was doing what I loved. I never thought I had the capacity to hold what was at the time 2 full-time jobs, but there was a turning point. So I'm employee number 3 at this startup and simultaneously trying to grow my online fitness community. I was doing this for about a year when I was like, something's gotta give. At the time, I was living in San Francisco, one of the most expensive places to live, and I was working from home. So I decided to move to a cheaper city, LA of all places, which was technically cheaper than San Francisco. But being surrounded by so many actors and creatives when I had just spent 4 years surrounded by techies and engineers was a breath of fresh air. I ended up getting so inspired by everyone chasing after their dreams that I came to a crossroads. I had to ask the question, did I want to spend the next 4 years doing something that I loved half-heartedly? Or could I take the next 6 months to go all in, full-time, and see where it goes? It was the scariest leap of faith, but with an emergency savings plan to make sure I was prepared for those next 6 months and a decision to go all in and bet on myself, once my stocks vested at my startup, I put in my 2 weeks notice and decided to go full-time as a content creator. Luckily, I had been working with brands already, but I had gotten my first big 5-figure partnership. So I felt like I had a softer landing for these next 6 months. That is one thing I'll say, is being financially prepared to chase your dreams. Sometimes it can be easy to say, quit your job and go after what you love. But finances and paying your bills are incredibly important. And I'm incredibly grateful that one of my first jobs was at a bank, and I learned how to grow my credit score, how to save, and how to invest from a very young age, which definitely came into play to help me pay my bills during those 6 months. There were 2 things that I did after I quit my job. Number 1 was focus. I am very ADD and I have a severely addictive personality. As I mentioned before, I could spend hours and days watching television and being so distracted. So I sold my television and got rid of all of my television subscriptions. I also read this book called The 5 a.m. Club. I knew that no one was going to wake me up in the morning and tell me what to do, so I had to create drive in myself to stick to a routine and stay motivated towards my goals. So I found this 5 a.m. routine, which was called the 20-20-20 rule. The first 20 minutes that you wake up, you work out intensely, heavily sweat. Then the next 20 minutes, you meditate, calming your mind. And then the next 20 minutes, you learn something new and read, consuming something to stimulate your brain. Starting your day like this supposedly would get you at your peak performance. And I did that for those 6 months. Having an addictive personality can have its perks. That was all number 1. The second thing I did was enhance my creativity by doing a 30 Reels in 30 Days challenge. Every single day creating content and really getting past my comfort zone. Really finding my limit when it comes to my creativity and then pushing it. Not everything worked and not everything landed with my community, but it was such a learning experience that I decided to do it again. The second time around, hitting my stride a little bit better, figuring out what my niche was and what I wanted to bring to the world, and then doubling down on that. Month 1 was June, and I was at 10K followers on Instagram. By month 4 in October, I had grown from 50K to 100K in 1 month. Month 4 was about the time when I knew it was going to be forever. I had failed at so many things in my past that something that was finally working out for me, it felt like I figured out where I was always meant to be. The journey of being a software engineer definitely enhanced my experience as a content creator because I approached things from a different angle that helped me communicate. Fast forward to today, and I've merged my 2 masteries of fitness and engineering to launch my very own fitness app. I've worked with my dream brands and I wholeheartedly believe I'm just getting started. You can change your life, and once we see others do it, we start believing it for ourselves. I'll be continuing to share my journey, really bringing visibility and openness to my career as a content creator, my transition, talking finances, struggles with content creation, and everything in between. I truly hope that my journey can inspire you to dream bigger than big, make safe, calculated, and financially savvy risks, and live to your fullest, healthiest, happiest potential. Follow along with my journey and get inspired to live the best version of your life as I try to live the best version of mine. Well, I am heading off to a date night, but I can't wait to chit chat with you guys more in my next videos. Make sure to put some questions down in the comments and I'll make sure to address them in my next videos. See you guys next time.